Good evening and welcome to The List. Today, Hannah Michalowski and Parker Resner will be talking about the 5 biggest sports stories that you need to know about. The world of sports is constantly changing, but these are the stories that will stick around for years to come. At number 5, during the Daytona 500 just a few days ago, driver Ryan Newman was involved in a horrific accident. Luckily, it was reported there was no serious injuries. First, Hannah, do you think NASCAR does enough for driver safety, or should there be more regulations?
Personally, I think they're doing enough for driver safety. After the Dale Earnhardt crash in 2002, they've really upped the safety regulations. Now all over the wall, pit members are required to wear a safety vest, a safety helmet, a fire suit, and since then there's really been no deaths in the NASCAR world.
Yeah, and actually I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, so after seeing this crash, something bring attention to the sports world like this, kind of did my own research. I always figured that in NASCAR, kind of the only technological developments were the cars and the manufacturers, Ford and so on. But it turns out, back like when you said after the Earnhardt crash, they kind of started their own R&D department, started something called the HAN system, which is a head and neck safety apparatus that's able to protect the driver's heads from injuries similar to what happened with Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. You got to protect your players and also protect the car. So it's kind of, you got to get at least, both in there because, you're the driver going in there and driving the car. So you got to also have the car protected as long as the helmets and the jackets and everything. Do you guys think that there's anything that can improve?
Well, it's hard to say exactly what can improve. I'm not in there seeing the technological capabilities of NASCAR. Obviously, they make a lot of money, a big sports organization. So it's hard for me to say, but just seeing an outcome like this where he's healthy, thank God, it gives us the ability to say, they're doing enough, but who really knows?
Absolutely. All right, and at number 4, the NBA Slam Dunk Contest happened last weekend and ended in controversy when Derrick Jones Jr. won. Do you guys think that the judging format should be changed for the competition?
So I actually have a couple ideas about this. Obviously, it's hard to change something that's subjective. As long as you have judges in a sport, they're not necessarily going to give the answers that everyone agrees with. The correct winner is not always going to win, in Aaron Gordon's case, potentially. Mm-hmm. So I thought that maybe you could go to decimal scoring, and this will prevent judges from going all in saying this is a 10. Maybe if they're able to give like a 9.3 on something, you're still giving it that respect it deserves, but maybe also allowing a little breathing room for better dunks later in the contest.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's disappointing that Aaron Gordon, arguably one of the best dunkers in the NBA right now, he doesn't even want to participate in the NBA dunk contest anymore because he feels he's been ripped out of 2 NBA dunk contest winners, or however you want to say it. And that's just disappointing. I mean, personally, I think maybe we should take a step back, look at how we choose the judges for the NBA, but going to decimals is a really good option. I think they could look into.
And it's funny you should say that because Ja Morant also came out, one of the brightest young stars in the NBA, and said that he is now sort of leaning towards not doing the dunk contest in his career purely off these judging controversies that keep happening. So it's a shame that it's kind of drawing away from players like that.
Absolutely. All right, Greg Olsen signed with the Seahawks this week as a former Pro Bowler. What can Olsen bring to the Hawks? Hannah?
I think he can bring a lot to the Hawks. I mean, if you look at it last year, he wasn't working with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he still made a decent amount of completions, and he still scored 4 touchdowns on, I think it was only 28 receptions that he had. So working with Russell Wilson this year he's going to be able to do a lot more than working with someone that at not such a high caliber.
Right, and they got him for a good deal, only $7 million, $5 million guaranteed. And he's 34 years old. He's had some injury struggles. So as long as he can stay healthy, he'll be an instant impact for this team, especially a team that runs the ball a lot. And I think personally, if they would have had their 2 running backs healthy, they probably would have been in the Super Bowl. They were one of the only teams to beat the 49ers last year. And they're making tight ends like Will Dissly and Jake Hollister, their 2 tight ends from last year, guys who were never pro bowlers or great players in college. They're making them look good. Imagine what Russell Wilson will be able to do with a guy like Greg Olsen, a seasoned vet, 3-time Pro Bowler, if he's able to stay healthy.
Oh, absolutely. And it just makes sense. I mean, Pro Bowler, you don't think that you can kind of get anything, but clearly he's got a lot to bring to the plate.
Yeah, and of course, he is older, 34, like I said, and like Hannah mentioned, we haven't maybe seen the elite quarterback play out of his quarterbacks recently. So for him to come to a guy like Russell Wilson on a young team and kind of able to help that offense grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like, I mean, another thing, like being old and everything, like a lot of people kind of look at him and think that, hey, like what is he even doing on the team? Why would you even want him here? But yeah, we're now going to go to a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. The List will be back in a couple minutes to talk about the last 2 biggest sports stories of the week.
At the University Bookstore, we have an excellent selection of competitively priced books and classroom necessities for students. We have Warhawk gear ranging from athletic apparel to comfy sweatshirts the whole family can enjoy. The textbook rental service is also available for students to check out their required readings for class. You can also find and order books, apparel, and gift items from our online catalog, located at UW-Whitewater-Bookstore.com. The University Bookstore. We provide for your college experiences.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want a break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
It has been taking away our potential for decades, but since 2009, campuses nationwide are becoming tobacco-free. Tobacco has been eliminated from bars, restaurants, and many other public places. Why should our schools be any different? For more information, visit the Ambrose Health Center.
Welcome back to The List. Our second biggest sports stories of the week is a concept people have different opinions on. With the second half of the NBA season starting this week, which team do you think will a major playoff push moving forward? Hannah?
I'm going to have to go with the Heat. I really like how Jimmy Butler and Derrick Jones Jr. have been pushing Hero and Abba to the best of their capabilities. I mean, Derrick Jones came out and won the NBA dunk contest, and they're just working hard. They have good chemistry, and I think they're at, what, third in the East right now? I think they're going to be able to make a good NBA playoff push. I think the young players want to show this is what we're here, this is what we're about, and they want to make a push in the playoffs to prove that statement.
And I actually agree with Hannah there. The Heat have been a huge surprise this year with rookie guys like Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn have come up and played huge minutes for them. Bam Adebayo also. But one team I will also say, the Portland Trail Blazers, they have guys like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and even though they're out in the West, they're 6 games under 500 right now. I think that they'll be able to, as the stretch of the season comes down to the playoffs, they're going to be able to use their experience that they have. Teams with veterans, also like the Milwaukee Bucks, my, of course, favorite team, I think they're going to be able to come through with a big run down the stretch that'll ultimately secure their 1 seed.
Yeah, I like what both of you said, especially about the team chemistry. You know, I mean, that's obviously just a huge thing that you have to have on the team, just like being able to pass back and forth. You know, there's some teams that just don't click right away, and you can definitely tell that. And that's, I mean, how, like, you could have that playoff push, like, moving forward, especially with the Heat, you know, just having that chemistry back and forth. Do you guys think any other teams are going to kind of move ahead there?
It is hard to say. I think the Celtics are probably going to make a big push. I mean, as we know, they were a hard competition for the Bucks last year, and I think they're going to really want to come back at us this year again. Every team in the NBA wants to take down the Bucks right now, and personally, I don't think the Bucks are going to let them do that, but that's up to each person to decide for themselves.
All right, and we are going to go to the final story here, and that will be going on for a while. Do you think that the MLB commissioner is handling the Astros situation correctly, or should there be any harsher penalties for cheating players? Parker?
Well, to say it bluntly, no, he hasn't handled it well at all. Just purely by not giving any of the players suspensions, that's where he messed up originally. Now, obviously, you can't suspend a whole team. I understand that. You have to have someone actually go out onto the field to perform. But doing something as simple as revoking their World Series title and revoking their American League Championship win, if you take those things back, you're at least recognizing that they didn't win those things truthfully, other than coming out and basically giving sort of a half report on what they did or didn't do wrong. We don't know all the information quite yet, but something that actually needs to be taken away from them, not just needs to be said.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that, Parker. I don't think he's been handling it good at all. I mean, even LeBron James has come out to say to him, look, this is not how we should handle a cheating scandal. What example are we setting for our youth by allowing cheaters to win championships? That's just showing them, hey, you got to do what you got to do to win, but that's not really how it should be. I mean, we got to show to them, look, we have to set good examples. If you're a cheater, they should at least have their championship taken away.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. That's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this first edition of The List. We will be back next week at the same time and place. See you then.